Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel, and thanks for joining us for another video. There's plenty of Manchester United chat to discuss today, so come and have your say, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. Updates from Carrington this morning on Maguire, Ugarte, and we're also going to take a look at that news that come out yesterday on Kobbie Mainoo and in talks on a potential new and improved contract. I think we should start with Kobbie Mainoo, something we was actually discussing in yesterday's video at our 2 p.m. live. And then I think a couple of hours later, it come out in the Daily Mail from Chris Wheeler. Reportedly, him and his team are asking for £180,000 a week plus bonuses.
Always worries me when stories like this come out about players' demands and contract negotiations. For me, they should be kept private. So when they're released, it says to me there's trouble in the background. I think they're pushing it. Not long ago, well, a few months ago, it's talking about £200,000. Now someone's putting a story about it's £180,000 is demanding each week. So for me, I think there's trouble down the line. We know Kobbie Mainoo is not on a lot of money compared to other players, but this is a battle what's going on. I'm not sure if it's United put it out or Kobbie Mainoo's team put it out to go at the other side. I think there's problems down the line with this.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Whether this has come out through someone inside Manchester United to put it out there as to say, look, his agent's asking for this.
Taking liberties.
He's taking liberties. Let's get it out there to the fans, or vice versa. But they've put it also in the Daily Mail to try and refresh and to try and get more clicks out there, put in Kobbie Mainoo towards Chelsea as well, that would be a club interested in him. And you mentioned his current contract. I think it's a liberty with you using that word, in being actually paid 20 grand a week as well.
I think 20 grand a week was right from where he came from 12 months ago.
Of course.
He's on a contract, I believe, till 2027, £20,000. In that time, he's played for England. He's played regular for United. We know he's not done great this year for different reasons, but £20,000, you know, he has to face up to the reality. And a lot of people inside Manchester United, there is a new reality. There's cost cutting. There's everything going on there. And these players now have to face up to it. And I think at this moment in time, looking at the statement, what's come out and the story, they're not looking in the right reality. It's a major increase on what's going on. But players, I do understand it. They look around. At the fellow professionals in there and think, well, I want what you want, what you're on. And you can't blame them in a way. But unfortunately, it doesn't sit well with a lot of people inside the club. They're cost cutting. Lots of people have lost their jobs and all that. And there's a financial meltdown inside Man United. So there is a battle and there is a worry going forward. And I think this isn't just one problem with the players' contracts. I think there's going to be a few.
Yeah, I do think there'd be genuine interest, though, from clubs in the Premier League and in Europe if it was known that Kobbie Mainoo wanted to leave Manchester United. And I'm sure, as a bargaining tactic, his actual agent would be using some of that rhetoric when he sat down round the table with Manchester United, putting a contract out there saying, well, I've got this club, that club, who are interested in Kobbie Mainoo and his services if we don't agree a contract. And maybe that's why he's pushing it as far as he does. And, you know, just a little bit of detail about some of the younger players who are currently at Manchester United and their earnings. Amad Diallo only just recently signed a contract. That's 120 grand a week. Garnacho is still on 50 grand a week. I think his contract runs out on 27 or 28. Rasmus Højlund's currently on 85 grand. Lenny Yoro, who were purchased recently, 115 grand. So for me personally, I would like to see Mainoo put in around that £100,000 mark per week.
Well, it boils down to this. Has Mainoo done enough to justify the demands, what's being reported, £180,000? And when you look at the other players, you have to say to yourself, especially Amad, Ahmad's just come on leap and bounds. You know, he's saved United. He's like a threat and everything. Kobbie Mainoo seems to have gone backwards with his football. He's not adapted. Yes, he can play in a couple of positions. Maybe the method and the system, what's being played, doesn't actually suit him sometimes. We know he's got the potential, but to pay £180,000 for potential, I personally, this is my personal opinion, I don't think he's justified it. I think the wage structure with these young players is there. There's a long way to go. And I've always said, these young players, you have to earn it before you get it. There has to be something on the table. Yes, we know he was part of the FA Cup winning side last year, but we want more than that. We want regular footballers playing top-class football, and we've not got it from Kobbie Mainoo this year and many others. Now, it's a big demand for him at Manchester United. So, is he demanding too much? I think so, and I don't think he's justified it. And when you look at the criteria, what the other players are on, I think he's taken a bit of a liberty, to be honest with you. Not just like with the other players, but with the way the world is at the moment, with people suffering, and certainly people suffering at Manchester United with all the cost cuts.
Yeah, I do get what you mean, especially about that performance in the FA Cup, but that still doesn't even justify 100 grand for what I say that he does deserve, to be fair. But I think that's based on his potential going forward. He's still a young lad and he's highly regarded out there in the football world. You know, ex-professionals, current professionals, managers out there. A lot of people speak glowing about Kobbie Mainoo, especially when they come up against him.
Listen, I'm not going to argue, and I don't think anyone's going to argue with the pay structure of round about £100,000 for him. Yes, he's got the potential, and he's also got the potential to be sold on and to make Manchester United money. And he wants an increase right now. And I'm not knocking him demanding an increase from what he's on now, because the potential there to sell him, and United are on the lookout for selling players, and he could be the one what goes. And that's the big worry, that we won't see the potential going forward for £100,000 a week, which I think is acceptable. And he and his team might be just putting the foot down and demanding more. And this story is going to run and run. And, you know, you could see him in the summer where Man United turn round and go, well, we've not got his contract sorted out here. Let's cash in on him now, and let's not even think about potential going forward. So you just don't know what's going to happen. It is a problem, but like I say, Mainoo at this moment in time does not justify £180,000 a week plus bonuses. That's the galling part for me. Plus bonuses, as if to say, if I win something or if I achieve something. Well, I go back to what I said, and I've said it many, many times about players here at Manchester United. They're getting paid massive, massive money without actually achieving anything. And it seems that this young lad and his agent are pushing. That's how the story looks out there. I might be wrong in who's pushing this story, but that's what it looks like, that they're pushing for the money before they've achieved something. And it's a generation thing. In my generation, you worked and worked, you worked hard, and then you got your rewards. It looks like that this story is saying Mainoo wants his rewards now before he's actually won, got us a title, got us up there, got us playing back there, being part of a team. So for me, there is problems.
Yeah, I'm sure his agent sat round and said he's going to be a regular international footballer as well. But you look at other young international players for the England team, and I mentioned Cole Palmer. He's on 130 grand at Chelsea. And even in the current Manchester United squad, you've got Harry Maguire. I think he's on roughly 190 grand a week. De Ligt, who we bought recently as well, he's on 195. So you're looking at the comparisons there inside the squad, plus these others there as well. You know what I mean? Luke Shaw, Mason Mount. I mean, do they even justify the wages they've been picking up over the last 12 months based on actual appearances for Manchester United? But for me, Kobbie Mainoo, I don't think the club would want to sell Mainoo. I really don't. I think a sale value is definitely there. I do believe we could command something like 70 to possibly 80 million for Kobbie Mainoo based on his potential and the way he's thought about in world football. But I do think he will stay at Manchester United, and I think there will be a compromise somewhere based on, especially when you're looking at Ahmad, the contract that he's been given, what he means to Manchester United's current squad and going forward as well. I think it will be a compromise around about that mark, or the £100,000 mark. So I'm actually confident in this. And for me, I'd like to see Mainoo stay at Manchester United, because I do think there's a lot of potential there and there's a big high ceiling. And let's hope Ruben Amorim can get the best out of him. And also on another fact, as we discuss, Ruben Amorim likes players who can play more than one position.
Correct. 2,
maybe 3 positions. Now, for me, Kobbie Mainoo can play in the 2 in midfield. He can play as a 10. I mean, he even tried him as a centre-forward, a false 9 against Brighton. I think that's the type of player Ruben Amorim likes, and he will want to bring into the club, players who can adapt.
Yeah, I don't think this regime is frightened to sell him, to be honest with you. I think they've knuckled down now, and they've laid the law down on many, many fronts inside Manchester United, and they've laid the law down with these players as well. And I think if they caved in to £180,000, which has come down from £200,000 a week, I think there would be a bit of a revolt, and there'd be a bad smell around Manchester United. And I think going forward, it'd show that one player was able to push Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe around and divert them from the plans. We've seen their plans going up and down all over the place. One thing, what hasn't changed is the cost cutting, and people just ain't getting the money, and we need to save money. And for Mainoo to keep pushing and pushing, I think someone's trying to call someone's bluff. And I think in the summer, yes, Manchester United won't want to sell him. I don't want him sold. I think he's a versatile player. There's more to come from Kobbie Mainoo, like the other youngsters in the squad. But I think push come to push to shove. Yeah. I think they would sell him this summer, because there is no point going into next year, because
uncertainty.
Well, if he's on 20 grand a week, he'll be screaming. He will be screaming. His agent will be screaming. He'll be knocking on Chelsea's door. He'll be knocking on Arsenal's door. Any door. Get him out of here. Get him bought. I want my player to have big money so I can earn money as well. There will be a scream, and the noise will not go down. And that's one thing we have to avoid in the summer. We have to nail all these players on. We have to cut the noise down. It's terrible what's going on now. We all know that. We're all feeling it. We're all getting like semi-depressed for a few hours and then try to perk up. Yeah. But you do not want Kobbie Mainoo's agent, or if people around him coming out screaming blue murder, that is on £20,000 a week. It'll affect Kobbie Mainoo anyway. So you don't want that. So by the summertime, it has to be put to bed one way or the other, and whatever happens. That's how I see it, because the club is in a financial meltdown. It's in a mess, and we have to have like sort of rules going forward. We might not like it, but that's the way it is at the moment. We are in dire straits.
Let's hope it does get sorted, because I can actually remember the reports coming out last August about him sitting round the table trying to sort a contract out. Obviously, it must have broke down or shelved it to one side, and it looks like they've reopened the talk. So for me personally, I don't know about yous out there, I do hope something gets agreed and we see Mainoo signed here for the next few years. Just diving into the chat, Jow says Mainoo should not be in a six figures salary unless he's established himself for a couple of years at Manchester United. Gary Monaghan says should be deductions from pay for poor performances, and I see that quite a lot in the comment section about performance-related contracts, you know, per week. If they don't like basically perform to a certain standard, etc., you know, there should be deductions. But
well, that might be the way forward. What's coming with new contracts and all that, and he clearly, someone in Mainoo's camp possibly, who's put this story out there, is rebelling against it. Performance-related. Will that go down well? Will that be achievable? I don't know, but maybe that is something Ineos are trying to introduce going forward.
Berber says, if anyone's demanding wages at our club, it just doesn't sit right. Not with all the people getting sacked. Normal people with mortgages, kids, bills to pay in the real world.
Well, I can understand in one way Mainoo demanding a pay increase. That, you know, he's on a level he shouldn't be on a level, okay? But to demanding this and then looking around the world, like I say, it doesn't sit with me, and they're not looking at the real world, they're not looking at the situation. They're creating an issue. And like Kieron says, this issue has been going on since August. You can't have it go on next year. So they're out of step with society, with Manchester United, with the real people, with the real world. That's how I look at it. So they've got to get in step, but I don't believe they will. I just don't believe they will.
Just going into the chat, Zamiasi, thanks for your super chat.
Thank you.
I've been letting you wait just a little bit on purpose, knowing you're an Arsenal fan with this comment. Tony, get ready to be cooked. Get ready to be cooked on Sunday after our masterpiece last night against PSV.
PSV have been rubbish. They were 8 points clear. They're now well behind. You just played a rubbish side at the right time. I'll see you on Sunday.
I mean, Malassi was getting absolute pelters from what I've seen from like PSV fans, etc. Basically sending back to Manchester United, and we don't want any of that. We need our loan players to actually put in performances so we can actually get some transfer fees for them, or just off the books again with wages for next year and on loan fees, just to put into our kitty for the summer.
Didn't sound nice. Didn't look good.
No. Anyway, I'm just going to go into the news on Harry Maguire. Ugarte, they were missing from training this morning. It looks unlikely they'll be travelling for that game against Real Sociedad in the Europa League. Picked up slight knocks, what's been reported. I think it's a huge miss, though, for Ugarte.
Yeah, the news just doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
Every time you open your eyes, you see something, or before you close your eyes at night, there's something there. And this news there, 2 more players. Ugarte, I thought would be essential out there, just to sort of get across the pitch and stop the play, stop them coming through. I look at Harry Maguire, again, another injury in that. And, he has one game where he's all right, another game where he's a little bit touchy in that, but is an integral part of this side at the moment, especially with Martinez out. And I have enjoyed his football more this year than I have over the last few years, and that. So it's a big miss. But I think there's enough players there to play in Harry's position for him not to be that much of a miss, because it's going to be more of a defensive game. They fly out this afternoon. You just don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But I think the replacement for Harry will be there. I think it's more of a defensive side, and we've got plenty of defensive players. Our problem with the news, what's coming out, always the same news, and always the same problem. Are we going to put our chances away? Harry Maguire's not part of that. He has scored a goal here and there, which is nice, but it's going away there to Real Sociedad, putting the chances away when they come. Harry, Ugarte, big miss.
Yeah, I'd expect the back three then, Mazraoui, De Ligt in the centre, with Yoro on the left-hand side for that. And for a number of weeks now, I've been looking forward to actually seeing Toby Collier come back to action, which he has been reported today and been shown in training. He's actually training with the rest of the squad, Toby Collier. So he's expected to fly, but I was always looking forward to him and Ugarte in midfield. I think in the current squad that we've got, there are 2 best options in that midfield too, with Bruno moving further up the pitch in a number 10 role.
Yeah. With Collier, it's early days yet, but the signs are all good there. I've enjoyed watching him play. I think he's up for the challenge, and he's proved it in the time he's been there. And with Ugarte, they do work together. That's what I've seen. So that's a big miss, because Collier, I think, will start the game. I think he will start the game. Yeah. He's up for it.
But we'll be in big trouble, in my opinion, if Casemiro ends up starting. I really do. If you then look at the midfield too, with Bruno and Casemiro, we've seen that same midfield two start away to Tottenham in the Premier League, and you could see the gaps that were being left open there with them two playing together. So for me, we need some legs in there.
Yeah, we need legs in there, and he's got them. But plus, he'll get stuck in as well, and that's what you want. But I think you're definitely right there on Casemiro. Casemiro just hasn't got it, just not got it at all. I've been saying it all season anyway. So there's nothing new there coming out of my mouth on Casemiro.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit in The Athletic as well this morning from Laurie Whitwell. He was discussing like a number of things, but one of the things that I picked up on was him discussing, or shall I say, making a statement that Ruben Amorim was pacing up and down the corridors after giving a short team talk away to Everton. Basically drilling into the players and getting them to remember about what they've been actually doing on the training pitch, the drills, the instructions. And it was sounding like it was only a couple of minutes. He went out and left the players to it.
Yeah, but there's a big disconnect. The article mentions a disconnect when things go right or whether they go wrong on the pitch, and that, you know, he can talk as much as he wants till he's blue in the face. You know, there's a clear disconnect. So him pacing up and down, worrying and all that, giving big chats and all that, and then you see him on the sideline walking up and down. He knows, he said it himself, Ruben Amorim, there's a disconnect with the players on the pitch when they need to fight. It's like they're looking around, like not knowing what to do and that. So I think Ruben Amorim is clear, and the article, I think, makes it clear that he's not getting through to these players at all. The squad just doesn't want to know. And when you look at a disconnect of players and why it's happening, you have to go back to all the other managers and that. So when a new manager comes in, he's got half the team what's recently just come in from the previous manager. You know, you've seen it with every manager. So there's always a disconnect with the squad, with what the new manager wants and all that. And unfortunately, what we've gone through is where they're not given long enough to turn it round, or they're not back. They might be backed in the first season, and then it doesn't follow up. And then next thing you know, there's a bigger disconnect in the squad. Yeah. And that's what you've got. So what Ruben Amorim keeps talking to these players for and drilling it in their heads and that, and he has talks about training and everything else like that. Everything's hunky-dory, they're all doing it. But when they get on the pitch and that, it's clear to see that they're not taking it in their head. Some of them don't care. Some of them know they're moving on. Some of them just aren't good enough. And that's the same. It's like repeat every time a new manager is in charge. Up and down the corridor, just banging their head against the wall. Got to change.
Yeah, I've seen some just before we come on live as well from Antony's agent, who's obviously on loan at Real Betis. And I just want to read out this snippet of what he said. He said, the reality is that Antony, since he arrived at Real Betis, has become one of the best players in the team and in the competition itself, demonstrating his full potential when given the right conditions to develop his game. This highlights that the problem was not the physicality, but the context and the way he was managed in Manchester. Well, he was managed by two different managers, Amorim recently, Erik ten Hag, who he actually worked under Ajax as well. So two different philosophies, etc. And there's no responsibility being taken at all in that from Antony and his agent himself. No,
there's no responsibility being taken there. I've said it after a few months. I changed my opinion. I thought he'd do well at Manchester United. He's just not good enough and physical enough for that Premier League. So he could, never mind playing for Manchester United, he could play for any team in the Premier League. He's not good enough for it. He's got a certain way of playing. Listen, it's faster. The Premier League is faster than where he is now. He suits it. And, you know, fair enough. He's doing well there. He's done well at Ajax. And that's his level. For me, that's his level. He gets on well, gets the ball, comes inside, looks for it, does a few things. But at United, in the Premier League, constant. It gets to a certain point, and then there's no more. He seems to get to the 18-yard box and then stops, and then there's no more work from him in there. It's different where he's playing now. I think he's definitely got more time on the ball where he is. You don't get that.
Betis.
You just don't know. You don't get that time at Manchester United or in the Premier League. So yeah, he's playing better. Fair enough. You carry on playing better, Antony. We might get some money back, but the Premier League is not for you because the standard of your football and your capabilities aren't good enough for the Premier League. That doesn't make you a terrible player, and he's turning it round. And fair enough for him. But he didn't help himself here in Manchester by his antics off the field and also on the field. So he has to take responsibility himself, and they're just sort of like putting it on Manchester United, which is bang out of order. Bang out of order. Like just saying it's all Manchester United's fault. It's not his. Well, that's the problem with today. People don't take responsibility for their own actions or anything. It's always someone else's fault. Well, in this case, it's Antony's fault, okay? He's not good enough. He didn't help himself, and now he's moved somewhere where he can shine. And I'll just give him the credit for turning it round there at this moment and wish him the luck.
Yeah, a lot of people reiterating really that he's just an average player. Some people are saying, well, give us the money for him then, please. And like I said before, he's got to take a lot more responsibility. I remember at the start of the season, he was out in the media, I think through his agent again, saying, you'll hear my name attached to more assists and more goals this season. And his agent as well, in that snippet that I read out to you before, he was actually giving percentages of how many minutes he's played, how many games he's played under Ruben Amorim this season. And it's not just about the games, it's about training as well. It's about having that intensity and that mindset and the character in training to do it every single day. And it's clearly not got it.
Look, the overall, when you view Antony's time here at Manchester United before he went over there on loan, right, is a complete flop. It's not the first flop, okay? I thought the first 4 weeks he was there, scored a couple of goals, and I thought it was going to be exciting. But then you quickly seen with your own eyes the limitations of what he can do. He's a one-trick pony. Cuts inside, tries to do a twirl, gets the ball, and then tries to shoot from like 30 yards away into the top corner. And I've not seen him hit the top corner for about 7 months, to be honest with you.
Seen him do it in a real Betis shirt, I've got to be honest.
Different.
But that is different league, etc. And it's not just the league, it's the demands as well, and the focus on the club, focus on players individually as well. And as we all know, despite where Man United are right now in the Premier League and how the season's going, we're still the main attraction out there, especially for the mainstream media.
Well, you look at Antony, and you've got to say, you're at Real Betis. Small club compared to Manchester United, it suits him. That's what it does. It suits him. And you look at Antony in the summer, and you've got to say to yourself, well, what are we expecting for him? What are we really expecting for Antony?
If he continues this form, from what a lot of people are saying he's got out there, including his agent's bigging him up himself. So,
good man.
Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the guys behind the scenes would be like rubbing their hands together here. Well, hang on a minute. Let's take you back to March when you said this quote and that quote. So, there's at least 25, 30 million. Why not? Why not ask for that? Why is it only Manchester United who should have the pants pulled down summer after summer, which I think stopped now under Ineos, due to all the faults out there? I still think they've got faults, but in terms of business dealings and transfer fees, I do think that's stopped now. But why can't they demand certain prices like that?
I don't think 25 million is really such a big demand. I think 25 million with add-ons, if it continues in the same form, is realistic, to be honest with you. Is £25 million for Antony more than what we're going to ask for Sancho, for instance? Is it more than what we're going to ask for Rashford? Now, Rashford and Sancho, they've got to deliver. Antony's delivering it at the moment. Sancho's gone backwards. Well, I say gone backwards. I don't even think he started. People try to bully up. Oh, is it Chelsea? Look at him. Look at him. He's just put 2 crosses in. He's just run into the box. Sancho, great player. Absolute garbage. Told you time and time again, the man doesn't care. He's only about money. He's only about social media. And then you look at Rashford. People were trying to big Rashford up against Cardiff. Now people are talking about him getting back in the England squad. I just can't believe some people. I think Antony will command more money than actually Sancho and Rashford individually. I do.
Yeah, I thought you was going to say put together.
No, not
individual. Right, so you're saying Antony will command more of a transfer fee than, let's just say, Rashford. What do you think out there? Do you think that's reasonable? But then again, like we've just discussed, it depends on how they perform.
That's right.
From now until the end of the season.
Well, I'm going to expand on that. I don't think Rashford's got it. I think Rashford will try and do something, but then you'll see Rashford get caught out as time goes on. That's how I see it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he performs, okay? And then we get loads of money for him, and then we wash our hands of him. But if Antony carries on in the same way, and the pundits keep going on about Antony doing this, doing that, then he's going to be a vital cog for some team. Maybe it's Real Betis, maybe it's another Spanish side, who knows. But Rashford and Sancho, for me, are under massive pressure, okay? Because they've got to prove themselves at the end of the season, or we're all going in on them big time.
Yeah, I don't think I think Sancho, by the way you listen to him, you just see his whole demeanour. I don't actually think he cares.
No, he don't care.
I don't think he cares about whatever club he's actually at. He's just happy just collecting the wages week in, week out, really, whether he's sat on the bench or not. But for me, Marcus Rashford, I think we should be commanding a fee of no less than £40 million. And I know he's on huge wages, etc. But
you might be right, yeah.
But unless we see him down tools at Aston Villa, like we have seen at Manchester United, where I actually mean him walking round the pitch, having a sulk when things aren't going his way, I think we should be able to get a £40 million fee baseline for.
I think that's where I'm basing my figure on with Marcus Rashford. I've gone in hard on Marcus Rashford for a long time, and And I was justified doing it. I don't care what anyone says. I watched with my own eyes that man walking about and not caring. So when I talk about Antony's fee, what we should expect being more than Rashford, I'm basically basing it on what I've seen of him playing for Manchester United over the last 18 months, nearly 2 years. I think it's been poor. So he has to turn it on. And I don't think he's got the mindset to turn it on. I hope he does, and we get more money for him. That's fine.
Yeah, I think we'll end it there.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a chat today. Just thought I'd do a bit of an overall Manchester United chat to get you involved, get a video out there. So please continue the conversation in the comment section, because we love to know your opinions on a daily basis. If you'd like to support us as well, please leave a like on the video, as you know it's much appreciated. We will be back tomorrow. It is actually game day. You're looking forward to, well, I'm not even going to ask you that question.
I am looking forward
I
am looking forward to
it. You're looking forward to a win as well. You think we'll go all the way in this competition?
I've changed my mind.
All right. No, you're not a flip-flop.
No, I'm not a flip-flop. I'm not like some people, right? I'd like a win out there, but I'll tell you what'll be more exciting is if we come away with the draw. What will it be like here next Thursday? It'll be electric.
I know. Do you know something? On Thursday, just to finish up on Thursday, with it being the away leg, I'm not really concerned too much about the away leg. It's here at Old Trafford, which is baffling me. No. I'm always more nervous about this Manchester United team here at Old Trafford than I am away from home. But
getting a point out there, getting a draw out there, bringing him back to Old Trafford, be one of the good nights, and we need a good night. So getting a draw, that's the minimum. I'd love a win. To be honest, I do expect to win, but I'm just putting that. No, I do expect to win, but I'm saying I'll be happy with the draw, because Thursday night here, next Thursday night here against them, I think it'll be electric. And I think it's something, as fans, we all need an electric night out at Manchester United.
I'm not expecting the win. I'm hoping for the win tomorrow, but like I was going to say at the start of this conversation, we will be back tomorrow as well, roughly between 12 and 2 p.m. UK time for a live video. So if you want to come and join us then. And we will look at doing a members-only video as well for all our members out there at roughly 5 p.m. as well. So if you want to come and join us there, please do. So keep a lookout for that post, what we'll put out tomorrow as well. Thanks for joining us as usual. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.